Alright, let me feed these hungry gamers real quick. Yeah, I know. Alright. Time to feed these gamers. Uh-oh. Gotta put this content out. Oh, by the way, hello people. Another beautiful day. Yep. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. Or, excellent. What? Alright. What I got for you guys? What's up, NeoWin.net? Listen to this. Intel reportedly missed out on 30 billion PlayStation chip. Intel reportedly missed out on $30 billion PlayStation chip deal. Gotta spend some bread, man. So listen to this. Intel Corporation has reportedly failed in its bid to supply the chip for Sony's next generation console, PlayStation 6. According to source familiar with the matter, Intel was in talks with Sony for months in 2022 to design and manufacture the semiconductor component for the PlayStation 6. Winning the contract would have been hugely significant for Intel. The order would have kept Intel manufacturing capacity filled for at least 5 years, and revenue from the contract was estimated at $30 billion throughout the contract. That lost business comes as Intel tries to grow the contract manufacturing part of its business and add more big customers who can help use its chip fabrication plants. It says instead AMD was selected to design the chip for the PlayStation 6, continuing its deal with Sony that began with the PlayStation 4. While AMD will handle the design, TSMC will carry out the actual production, following the industry model for chips design, which is separate from fabrication. Then it says, according to the report, Intel was unable to settle the main issue with Sony regarding how the two companies would share their profits. There was also an issue over backwards compatibility for PlayStation games, which would have demand that Intel invest heavily in a processor capable of meeting Sony's needs. These were some of the factors that contributed to the breakdown in talks with a deal. This missed Sony opportunity and other setbacks have exacerbated the challenges facing Intel leadership. The technology giant recently saw the abrupt departure of board members Lip-Bu Tan over disagreements about company strategy. Intel executives are debating potential divestment and reorganization in the wake of multi-billion-dollar losses in its manufacturing division. And then it says securing the PlayStation 6 chip order would have provided Intel with a much-needed boost. However, the talks with Sony reportedly fell apart due to clashes over financial terms and technical requirements. Well, Intel misses out on this one, and like I said before, AMD got their hands in all kind of got their hands in a lot of things. Yeah, so we got 18 comments here. Let's see what these AMD debaters and politicians talking about. What they got? Let's see here. What do we got? Let's see. George P. As usual, he said the back compat issue is a minor to me. It's all x86 on the CPU side. Doesn't matter if it's AMD or Intel. Only the GPU side would need some tweaks, probably at the driver level. But nothing you can't do is, especially when we're talking about 30 billion here. Nah, this is 100% over the profits. AMD just had a nicer deal on the table. And then Becker said this. Keep in mind that the PS5 had a single SoC chip that functioned as the CPU, GPU, and chipset. At the time of the PS5 release, Intel was not even remotely close to being able to provide the graphics needs of PS5, considering the separating of the GPU as of discrete chip would represent a meaningful cost increase to Sony. I feel like Intel was never even in the running. Yeah, I would say the same thing myself. George P comes back again. That change, they've been putting more powerful XC cores into their SoC now. And then it says TBH, Intel's GPU can give AMD a run for their money. Intel win when it comes to ray tracing performance, for example. Both fall short of NVIDIA, but that's a different story. And then Electrifier said this: these days AMD are just crushing Intel in every way. How the tables have turned. Yeah, when they put their money in the Steam Deck, man, I was like, yeah. Anyway, who was this? Guilfoyle said this: a major reason that TSMC makes AMD chip and Intel makes their own. I do believe some of the new Intel chips are going to be made by TSMC for the first time. Heat and power issues that Intel are mostly because of their older fabs versus TSMC, which are pushing PAT 3 nanometer soon. And then who is this? Hello Walkman said this: did Intel actually have any real chance? I doubt it. Yeah. And then Becker comes back. He says, I don't see how. The PS5 has a very weak CPU, basically a 2700X, but the same chip is also the GPU, and Intel at the time, Sony would have needed its development unit wasn't even remotely close to having required GPU tech. You might be able to make the argument now that they are basically there, but in early 2019, when the first dev unit came out, it was little more than a pipe dream. All right, George P again. He said this: that's for the PS5 though. We're talking about the future PlayStation 6, which isn't expected to come out anytime soon. Now that they went in with the Pro, we're talking 2027 at best. And then Guilfoyle said this: 3700X actually, which honestly for non-CPU intensive game is more than enough. They did increase the clock speed for the PS5 Pro by some small amount, but the GPU jumped up big time. And then Jeezy said this: this means Sony will be using x86-64 and Microsoft will be using ARM in the next console. The Sony GPU will likely be AMD, but I wonder what GPU part Microsoft will be using. Then Goodbot Badbot said this: the next Xbox will be using ARM. Why? No backwards compatibility, and no way it will be able to match performance. Then George P comes back again. He's like this: no one said it would. That's an old rumor someone tossed out somewhere. But just to play devil's advocate, ARMs on the CPU side would be possible. It's just the GPU part of the SoC. You have to think about who does ARM-based chips with powerful GPU right now. NVIDIA does. And then he says it would take much to run the core system on a ARM CPU with a powerful NVIDIA GPU if they want to. What do people think the Switch 2 is going to run? BTW ? And then Guilfoyle comes back again. He said, look, got a link to the next Xbox using ARM ? I think the next Xbox, if it's even comes, will just be a PC that you install the Xbox OS on, which is just Windows full screen with GPU iterations. Then he says $49.87 for the Xbox. I think Microsoft should just get out of the hardware business and be a third-party game company. The money is in the game sales, and since the Xbox is dead last in every generation, just give up already. Goodbot Badbot comes back again. He's like this: no one, the ops seems to think so, which is why I ask. Sure, they could slap an off-die GPU in it, but that wouldn't seem to be the cost efficient. If the next Xbox has the same chipset as the Switch 2, the console will be laughed out of existence. LOL. See who else here? And then who is this? Jeezy said this: you're right, it's just a rumor. Sorry about that. And then Joe said this: Well, at 100 million units, that can be a figure. Yep. And then who was this? Superhand said this: Intel haven't won a console contract in, I can't even remember the last time they were in that space. Not only are they too costly, but they don't have experience creating high performance chips that are also powerful, efficient, and cool. Intel go-to is always to push as much power and heat in order to hit performance targets. Also, given their recent chips have been self-destructing, I suspect it isn't worth the PR risk for any console manufacturer to run with them. And then Joe comes back. Joe said this again. He comes back again. Last comment, he said, "Yep. Now to be fair, apparently Lunar Lake has been the best since sliced bread. I'm excited to see more computers coming out. Initial impressions have been good." And that's the end of all the comments. So yeah, Intel lost this bid, and AMD reaps the benefits. So AMD will be in the PlayStation 6. They're already in the PlayStation 5. And so is Xbox. So yeah, competition is what drives the market. And sometimes, you know, you got to spend some money. You already seen what Microsoft did with Activision Blizzard, spending $68.7 billion. So you got to spend some bread in this tech industry. You know, can't play conservative all the time. Then you know, you got to be reasonable. You got to know how to negotiate and communicate. You know, with business partners. You know, but the other thing too with the Intel, you know, is that, you know, it wouldn't have worked because of the I think probably the backwards compatibility part. That's about it. But other than that, man, yeah, you know, they missed out on this one. But you know, there's always another console generation where they can try. You know, so yeah. And so look like Sony is going. Sony will be using AMD in the PlayStation 6. So right now it's 2024. So probably 2026, 2027. PlayStation 6 should be here. Yeah, it will be a beast, that's for sure. But right now, they have the PS5 Pro that's about to come out in about what, a couple of weeks. So yeah, Sony's moving right along, you know. You know, these AMD politicians and debaters, man, they love to go at it, you know. Now they talk about the Switch too. We know that Nintendo don't build no powerful console, so they might be using Intel might be using Nvidia because of the backwards compatibility with the Switch too. They're gonna have to do that. Microsoft, on the other hand, I doubt if they'll go the ARMS route. I doubt that. I seriously doubt that. Even though ARMS is entering the GPU market, I seriously doubt that. Maybe, you know, Microsoft, since they love the ROG Ally, you know, they might go the Nvidia route. Maybe, just maybe. But if not, there's always AMD. But yeah, technology, folks. You know, you got to spend some bread, man, in this tech world. You know, you got to. You know, I think it was last year. Was it the year before? Year before last? When I think Nvidia was trying to make a deal with ARMS, and that was right around the Activision Blizzard deal. Nvidia was trying to buy ARMS, but that deal didn't go through. So, you know, it didn't have a lot of support. So, yeah. But now ARMS is getting into the GPU race. But now they got to compete with Intel, and Nvidia, and AMD. Intel is not chopped liver by any means. They're always making new chips. They just missed out on this one, on this deal. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars searcher thing for Dark Side. Peace.